We play and call it work.
Hey everybody, Janene here with a how-to video for you guys. Today we're going to play around with some basing techniques, specifically using Agrellan Earth technical paint to create some cool textures on bases. And don't forget to leave your comments below for what you'd like to see in future how-to videos. I've got this cool base here that has some awesome stonework, a little bit of ruined temple, and I kind of want to make it look like it's in the desert. I wanted to play around with the Agrellan Earth technical paint, but I want to make it look like it's just part of the texture and I don't want to cover all of the dirt. The traditional way that you use Agrellan Earth paint is you cover the base in it. After it cracks it's this cool color, but I don't want to cover the entire base with the Agrellan Earth. I want it to blend in with the dirt that I already have on there, the sand that I've got glued on. So I'm going to work on mixing the two colors together and create an interesting desert scape. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint the whole base with this Doom Bowl brown color. I'm going to use very watery paint, almost like a glaze in the consistency. I'm not really worried about coverage, I'm more worried about tinting it, and I'm worried about the paint being able to move. In terms of ratio, this is probably 3 parts water, 1 part paint. It's really watery. You could also use some kind of medium. I like water just because I'm used to using it, and it's really easily available because it's water. So I'm going to take the paint, I'm going to put a ton of water in my brush, and I'm just going to move it around the base, making sure it gets into all the cracks, move it around all of these rocks. I like this paint because it's got some nice red tones to it, which I think is going to work with the deserty look that we're going to create with the Agrellan Earth. So here you can see it now that it's dry. It's not nearly as bright as it was originally. We're going to highlight it with a dry brush of this Bugman's Glow paint. I'm not overly concerned with being sloppy. The only thing I really care about is making sure that I don't get the cobblestones that I've already painted. The reason why we're doing this highlight right now is because I want to make sure that even though I want the dirt and the Agrellan Earth to blend in together and to look natural, I also want them to have slightly different tones so you can tell that they are 2 different textures. Alright, now time to crack open the Agrellan Earth. Now this stuff's a lot of fun. If you haven't played with it, I would take the chance to do so. I've tried painting with a lot of different crackle mediums before, and I've had varying levels of success with them, but this Agrellan Earth stuff always crackles for me, and I love it. I'm not super sold on the color of it, which is why I'm going through and I'm painting it. You can see I'm just slopping it on there. I'm kind of using the brush almost like a spatula, really. I want it to be thick. The areas where it's thicker is where it's going to crack more. In fact, my paint was getting a little bit runny, so I shook it up off camera and I'm going to put more on there. But you want it to have a very decent layer. It's something that you don't really do with a lot of other paints. I don't recommend globbing paint on in a lot of other cases, but with this Agrellan Earth technical stuff, you want it to be nice and thick. So after we have this all applied in all the areas we want it, we're going to leave it alone and let it dry for a whole day. Here you can see it after it's dry. You can see it's got lots of really nifty, tiny little cracks. And the cool thing is that the cracks are really small, so they're on scale with the rest of your miniature. Now that we've got all the cracks, we need to blend it all together. So we're going to go back and we're going to add another really watery layer of this Doom Bowl color. And I'm not going to put it over the entirety of the earth, but I'm going to put it on the edges of where the color of the dirt ends and the color of the Agrellan Earth begins. And I'm going to take just a glob of water, and I'm going to kind of use that to blend. So I'm going to put paint down and then use some water to blend it into the tan color of the cracked earth. And you can see that this is just a really watery layer. I'm not super concerned with covering up that tan. I'm more concerned with blending the transition. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use Agrellan Earth shade, and I'm going to use this to go pretty much over the entire texture. I'm going to use it to blend the sand into the cracked earth, and I'm also going to use it to create a deeper shadow in the cracks of the Agrellan Earth, because later after these paints have dried, we're going to do some dry brushing, and with the dry brush I really want to make sure that the shadows are a little bit deeper than they are right now. After the earth shade dries, we're going to take this Kiss Love Flesh, which is a really nice kind of peachy, bright color, and I'm going to dry brush it onto the cracked earth. I'm doing this as a little bit of a cleaner dry brush than I did before. I'm going to concentrate the color really on the deserty cracked areas and try not to hit any of the sand. We're going to use this dry brush to really bring out the edges of the cracks. After that's done, I really want to push it another layer, so we're going to use Flayed One Flesh and do a final highlight on these cracks. Here you can see the colors all blended together. It definitely has a very different look and feel to it than just putting dirt on a base, and I think it's an interesting tool to have in your toolbox. So the last step is to create a rim in black around the base, and I'm just going to use some black paint and put it around the rim. I'm going to use the side of my brush and do this pretty quickly. Here's the base completed. I'm probably going to use this for a land speeder or something. I haven't quite decided. It's got a convenient hole drilled into it so I can turn it into some kind of flying base, but that's not important. What's important is the technique, so there you are. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch even more painting tutorials, I have another one where I show you how to paint a Flesh Tearer's Ball Predator in the MiniWarGaming vault in the link down below in the description. If you don't have a vault membership, go ahead and click the link and you can sign up for a 7-day free trial and get access to my tutorial as well as hundreds of other tutorials and other videos in the Wargaming vault. So click down below and happy wargaming.